Shakira, thank you for your time this evening. What are your thoughts about these detainees, their complaint, and the fact that, they couldn't even get certified halal food? I mean, that seems like a fairly basic thing to get wrong.
As you mentioned, Australia has a very long and very abysmal history of mistreatment of asylum seekers. Another recent brutal instance of that was the refusal to repatriate another asylum seeker who killed himself in Brisbane late last year, Dr. Rahani, who had attempted to migrate to Australia from Afghanistan, and the Australian government refused to send his body back to his homeland for burial unless there was a quite exorbitant amount of money paid by his family. And now this refusal to supply asylum seekers with food, which they regard as religiously acceptable, has led to many men losing, mostly men in detention, losing serious amounts of weight, who are already in very poor physical and mental health, and now not even getting sufficient nutrition. And I will mention there was another similar example here in Melbourne, where I live, when there were, which Melbourne is now currently under very strong lockdown over the COVID-19 pandemic. And there were 9 public housing towers in Melbourne where, again, the residents were disproportionately Muslim, and quite a lot of them were former asylum seekers who are now Australian citizens. And because there were a large number of COVID cases in those public housing towers, the Victorian state government, without warning, told the residents of those towers that they were going to have to stay in compulsory quarantine in their flats for 2 weeks without being able to enter and leave. And they were not given time to go grocery shopping beforehand. But the government told them not to worry, and that told the Australian public that we shouldn't be concerned because there would be food provided by the government. But the food that was supplied to these residents, who were told, who were put in home detention purely, in case they, well, supposedly, well, not just supposedly,